The modern dating dilemma. Navigating the world of romance today can feel like traversing a minefield. There are unspoken expectations, shifting gender roles, and the ever-present question of who pays for what. Let's get real for a second. Forget the filters and the carefully curated profiles. You show up on a first date, maybe you're a little nervous, a little excited, hoping to make a good impression, and the bill lands on the table. The mood shifts ever so slightly. Who pays? Does one person automatically reach for their wallet, or do you both stare at it, waiting for the other to make a move? Is it fair to split it right down the middle? Is that truly equitable in every situation, or are there invisible rules at play that nobody talks about? Unwritten social contracts that dictate who should pay based on gender, income, or even who initiated the date. The debate about 50-50 relationships is everywhere, sparking heated discussions and revealing deep-seated beliefs about money, power, and expectations in modern partnerships. From TikTok, where viral videos dissect every nuance of dating etiquette, to dinner tables, where couples grapple with these questions in real time, often leading to awkward silences and underlying resentment. But the truth is, it's more complicated than a simple calculation. Equality in love isn't always as simple as splitting a check. It's about understanding each other's values, contributions, and financial realities. A lot of young men today feel stuck, caught between traditional expectations and modern ideals. You want to be fair, to treat your partner as an equal, but you also don't want to get played. You don't want to feel like you're being taken advantage of, or that your generosity is being mistaken for weakness. You hear about independent women who say they want equality, who champion financial independence and challenge traditional gender roles. But when the bill comes, eyes turn to you. A subtle, almost imperceptible shift in expectation. That's the pressure cooker of modern dating, a constant negotiation of expectations, values, and financial realities. So, is 50-50 the answer? Is it the magic formula for a balanced and equitable relationship? Is it sustainable, a long-term solution that fosters trust and mutual respect? Or is it just another myth sold to keep everyone confused? A superficial solution that masks deeper inequalities and unmet needs. If you're tired of mixed signals, you're not alone. Many are struggling to decipher the unspoken rules of modern dating. The rules keep changing, evolving with each new generation and social trend. But the game is still the same. The underlying dynamics of power, expectation, and vulnerability remain constant. Let's break down the real deal behind 50-50 relationships. Let's explore the nuances, the hidden assumptions, and the potential pitfalls. Because sometimes what's fair on paper doesn't feel fair in practice, and understanding that discrepancy is the first step towards building a truly equitable and fulfilling relationship. All right, time for some straight talk. Around here, we call it the grit code. No nonsense, no sugarcoating, just the facts that every man should know before he gets serious about love, money, and fairness. The grit code means seeing through the hype. Social media might tell you that relationships have to be equal. But what does that really mean when you're the one picking up the tab, fixing the car, and listening to late-night rants? Some people sell fantasies. We're interested in reality. Our mission is simple. Bust the myths that set men up to lose. Too many guys fall for ideas that sound good, but just don't hold up in the real world. If you're looking for tips on how to keep everyone happy while losing yourself, you're in the wrong place. Here, it's about respect, self-worth, and making choices that don't leave you burned out. Time to get honest about what works and what doesn't. Let's dive in. In theory, a 50-50 relationship sounds perfect. Both people put in the same amount of money. Both carry the same weight in chores. Both show up for each other emotionally. Sounds easy, right? On paper, it could end world wars. But here's the catch. Real life isn't paper. People have different strengths, weaknesses, and ideas about what equal really means. Maybe you earn more, or maybe she cooks better. Maybe you handle the bills while she organizes your life. It rarely lines up perfectly. The idea is noble, no one wants to feel used. But expecting every little thing to be split down the middle is a recipe for resentment. You could end up keeping score, always worried about who owes what. That's not love. That's a business deal with kissing. At the end of the day, true partnership isn't about adding up receipts. It's about both people showing up and both feeling valued. Sometimes that means giving a little more without feeling robbed. Let's address the elephant in the room, the one that often gets tiptoed around in modern relationships. It's a topic that sparks debate, ignites passions, and leaves many feeling utterly perplexed. A lot of women talk about wanting equality, striving for it in their careers, demanding it in social settings, and advocating for it in every facet of life. But go online, venture into the digital landscape of forums, social media groups, and comment sections, and you'll see whole threads about why women shouldn't have to go 50-50. It's a surprisingly common sentiment, a counter-narrative that challenges the very notion of equal financial contribution. Some say it kills the romance, that splitting the bill diminishes the spark and transforms a potentially magical evening into a mundane transaction. Others say men are supposed to provide, clinging to traditional gender roles where the male partner assumes the financial responsibility. The internet is split, a battleground of opinions where arguments clash and perspectives collide, leaving a trail of confusion and uncertainty in their wake. Historically, men have always been seen as providers and protectors, the breadwinners who shoulder the financial burden while women focused on domestic duties. Even today, those old scripts are hard to shake. They're deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness, influencing our expectations and shaping our perceptions of relationships. Some women still expect a man to pay for dates, viewing it as a sign of generosity, chivalry, or even financial stability, handle the hard stuff, tackle the physically demanding tasks, and take charge in situations requiring strength or expertise, and lead the relationship, taking the initiative and planning activities, making decisions, and setting the overall direction. Not all, but definitely enough to make you notice. It's a persistent undercurrent in the dating world, a subtle yet significant factor that influences interactions and shapes expectations. Why the pushback? What are the underlying reasons behind this resistance to the 50-50 model? For some, it's about feeling valued, a tangible expression of appreciation and affection that goes beyond mere words. Feeling safe, knowing that their partner is willing and able to provide security and protection in times of need. And cared for, experiencing a sense of nurturing and support that strengthens the emotional bond between partners. For others, it's just tradition, a continuation of established norms and expectations passed down through generations. Sometimes it's about testing if a guy is serious, a subtle way of gauging his level of commitment and investment in the relationship, or just looking for a good time, discerning whether he's genuinely interested in building a meaningful connection or simply seeking fleeting pleasure. The logic is rarely clear, often shrouded in unspoken desires, societal pressures, and deeply ingrained beliefs. But the expectation is usually there, lurking beneath the surface of seemingly progressive interactions. If you think you're the only one frustrated, think again. This is a widespread dilemma, a source of confusion and resentment for many. Many men feel stuck between wanting to be fair, embracing the principles of equality and shared responsibility, and not wanting to look cheap, fearing the judgment and disapproval that might come with suggesting a split bill. The rules aren't just unclear. They're a tangled web of conflicting signals and unspoken expectations. They're often unfair, placing undue pressure on men to conform to outdated standards while simultaneously demanding equality. The weight of old expectations, those unspoken, often unconscious beliefs about what men be. Here's where things get real. We're diving into the murky waters of gender roles and relationship dynamics, where fairness often feels like a distant shore. Is it fair for men to be expected to pay, provide, and protect, shouldering the financial burden and physical safety, all while pretending everything is equal? Is it realistic to demand traditional roles in some areas while simultaneously expecting complete parity in others? The short answer is no, it's not. It's a recipe for resentment and a breeding ground for dissatisfaction. The reality is, many guys are still graded by old standards, judged on their ability to provide and protect, whether they signed up for that role or not, even if the world keeps talking about progress. We see equality preached online, but often traditional expectations linger in our personal lives. Men are told to open doors, expected to be chivalrous, pay bills, foot the bill for dates and outings, and handle problems. Be the fixer, the problem solver, the rock. But when it comes to splitting chores or emotional labor, when it's time to share the load of daily life, suddenly equality is back on the table. The scales tip and the expectation of shared responsibility conveniently reappears. The double standard is obvious, and it stings. It feels like a bait and switch, a betrayal of the promise of equality. You start wondering if you're valued for who you are, for your personality, your passions, your inner self, or just for what you can give. Your resources, your time, your energy, your unwavering support. Let's be clear, wanting to provide is not a weakness. It can be a source of pride and fulfillment. But being expected to give everything, to constantly pour from an empty cup and get only half in return, where is the balance, the reciprocity, the mutual support? That's a setup for disappointment. It's a path to burnout, resentment, and ultimately a broken relationship. Fairness means both sides are accountable, not just you. It requires open communication, honest negotiation, and a willingness to challenge traditional roles. The old rules haven't disappeared, they just got sneakier. They've adapted, hiding beneath the surface of modern relationships, subtly influencing expectations and behaviors. If you're always the one sacrificing, it's time to hit pause, reevaluate, set boundaries, and prioritize your own well-being. Relationships should lift you up, not drain you dry. They should be a source of joy, support, and mutual growth, not a constant struggle for fairness. Now, don't get it twisted. There are couples making 50-50 work. But here's the secret. They're not obsessed with counting pennies. They're focused on honesty, maturity, and real partnership. A 50-50 relationship needs two grown-ups who know themselves and each other. They talk openly about money, values, and expectations. They're not afraid to admit when something feels unfair or off balance, and they fix it together. It also takes transparency. That means sharing the uncomfortable stuff, debts, dreams, fears, and family drama. If you're hiding things, the scales will tilt fast. Shared values matter more than splitting hairs over who paid for coffee. Bottom line, 50-50 only works when both people bring honesty and effort. If you're both in, you both win. Ready for some grit code advice you can use today? First, set clear boundaries. Decide what you're willing to give and what you're not. Don't let anyone guilt you into carrying the whole load. Second, talk money early. It's awkward, but it saves pain later. If she dodges money talks or expects you to pay for everything, that's a red flag. Don't ignore it. Ask questions and watch how she reacts. Third, vet values, not just vibes. A pretty face and good conversation are great, but if her goals and values don't line up with yours, it won't last. Character beats chemistry every time. Finally, don't lead with your wallet. Don't try to buy affection, and don't fund a lifestyle you can't afford. The right woman wants you, not your bank account. Respect yourself enough to say no when it matters. Here's the truth. Fairness in a relationship isn't about splitting every bill. It's about sharing the load, emotionally, mentally, and yes, sometimes financially. What matters most is that both people show up for each other. One month you might pay more. Next month she might do more chores. Over time, it balances out. If both of you care and both of you try. The goal isn't to keep score. It's to build something real together. Don't let anyone tell you that your worth is measured by how much you spend, your effort, your time, your respect. These can't be bought, and they matter more than cash ever could. Fairness is about equal energy, not equal dollars. Don't settle for less, and don't demand more than you give. Here's the bottom line, fellas. Love shouldn't feel like a punishment. You deserve a partner, not a scorekeeper, someone who meets you halfway, brings out your best, and doesn't leave you empty. Don't get trapped by old rules or new fads. Build your own standard, one based on respect, honesty, and shared effort. That's the grit code way. You're not just a provider or a paycheck, you're a man who brings value in every way. So, the next time someone asks if 50-50 is sustainable, tell them this. Real partnership is about equal commitment, not just equal cash. Focus on finding someone who matches your energy, not just your spending. True love is built on partnership, not punishment. Never forget your worth and never settle for less.